Hi there, and welcome to the Multiply You podcast, where we showcase top experts in their space and reveal all the secrets you need to know to multiply you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Austin Clark here, host of the Multiply You podcast. Really excited to get another episode underway for each one of you and to really be able to provide value. This episode is brought to you by my company, Mulcahy Pest Control. We're growing. Many people have been very fortunate to grow the last several years. And in spite of the pandemic that's been going on and happening that hopefully is far, far behind us, one of the ways that we've found success doing that in many of our markets is via acquisition. And so if you are an operator, an owner-operator, 3, 4, 5+ trucks on the road, we're really looking at that $500,000 mark and more in annual sales revenue, and you're looking to golf more, work less, give us a phone call. I would love to be able to speak with you. The last deal we did, it was less than a month ago. And this gentleman's company that we purchased, he did not realize the multiples that are going on right now and the money that he could receive for all the hard work that he's put in the last 10 years into his company. So you can reach out to me directly on my cell. You can call or text me. It's 480-254-9730, or you can email me directly at aclark@moxypestcontrol.com. The other thing that I wanted to mention is Michael E. Gerber and I, author of the E-Myth, he and I the last 2 years have been co-authoring the E-Myth vertical for the pest control space, and it's done. We are launching it together. He'll come to keynote. That is Thursday evening, November 3rd in Phoenix. And if that's something that you're interested in attending or coming to, we're not charging for it. It's free. But space is limited, so you can reach out to me in the exact same way if that might be something valuable for you and your team. I'm really excited to be able to have David on today. We were just kind of chatting before the show, getting to know one another. He has had a tremendous amount of success the last 7-8 years, and I think that back in 2014, he may have been in a situation like some of us are in today. What am I doing? I feel like I might be at a dead end type place in my career. So I think that there was just some things going on in his mind or in his, professional life that he thought that there may be more out there. So I'm excited to talk more with you about that. He was based in the time in 2014 in Boston, Massachusetts. His words, not mine, stuck at a dead end job. And since then, he has become a multi-owner unit owner of ohDEER. ohDEER is a franchise that offers deer, tick, and mosquito control. He's also the COO of ohDEER Development and franchisor of ohDEER, and he's got an extreme passion for serving others, seeing them achieve their goals, watching them scale up, watching them grow. He is a busy man himself with 20+ trucks and vehicles on the road. And wondering and worrying about where those are at every moment of the day, I'm sure. So, David, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing today?
Doing very well, Austin. Thank you very much for the time today. And congrats on the E-Myth vertical of pest control.
Thank you.
Very cool to be working with Michael Gerber on that.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. So let's just kind of jump right into this dead-end job in 2014. Again, your words, not mine. We don't need to talk about the job, but what was going on in your life in 2014? Why did you feel stuck, or why did it feel dead end? And then what were some of the steps that you took to say, I can do something more, or I want to do something more, and then how did this happen for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of folks have the same issue. They're either stuck behind a desk or they're in a family company. I was personally in a family company. And I had goals by the time I reached a certain age, and it became apparent that those were never going to happen within that company. So, hardest thing my father's ever had to do with me is tell me that, hey man, you're not going to get ownership. There's nothing I can do about it. You need to go figure out something because you're way better than this. And that was a company he was a part of for 50 years. So, at that point, I started doing research. It was restaurants. I have a degree in hospitality. So it was restaurants. It was trash collecting and dumpsters. It was pest control. There were 2 companies doing mosquito control in the local area. Both were growing. One was doing Take a Mosquito with a backpack. One was doing Take a Mosquito with a compression spraying and offering deer control. Probably guessed that I ended up with the deer control one, which allows us 12-month revenue in New England. And it came down that if I didn't start making a change for myself, no one else was going to. Probably the most, there's never a good time to make a change, right? It's February 2014. I am getting married in 6 months, 5 months. And I have a mortgage. So, I'm going to put my house on the market, get married, and move 45 minutes away to an area I really have never visited. Like that. And that was the beginning of the journey. Started 2014, did it with a truck, at nights and weekends, still having my other job until 2015. We got crushed with snow in New England, finally laid off, can't do this anymore. And I'll back it up just a second. After my honeymoon, I came back and I told the owners of the business, by the way, I need to move on. And it was my family, and they needed me for a certain amount of time. And it was my time to move on after that. And never looked back, moved into my in-laws' summer house and started buying trucks and being part of the community we served. That was the start.
Wow. How about that? That is nerve-wracking. I mean, I'm guessing you probably didn't have $200,000 saved up in a bank account and just a year's worth of runway, to be able to take risks like this. What were some of those determining factors, David? And so you were at a family business. You were never going to get what you were seeking or what you wanted. So, I mean, that kind of helped that conversation or those wheels start to turn. You started to do a lot of homework, pest control, trash collecting, whatever else. What were some of the other steps that had you thinking, hey, I can do this, or I've got to do this?
So I wanted to own something, and it came down to, okay, I can go buy something that's up and running, or I can start something. And what is it going to cost to start something? I'm 25. I have a mortgage. If I leave a job, I'm not going to be able to get financing. What is out there? What are options? Franchising. Okay, franchising in general, there's a system, there's guidance, there's people you can bug. They've done it before. The path is there. I've seen how they grew. This seems really simple. Just how much money do I need? And then I can figure everything else out. And no, I didn't have a runway. I had enough, a little saved, that I could buy a $8,000 truck that didn't have brakes and didn't have running lights. And I had to get a painted new bed. And it was like, the story that, I wasn't living in the back of someone's, in back of my truck, but it was, I'll never forget the first time I met my fiance at the time, now my wife of 8 years. The person that introduced us said, he's gainfully employed. And when we got married, I was pretty much unemployed and took on a monster took on a debt of a franchise of how am I going to make this happen? But it was the willpower. It strictly came down to, I need to make my life. I needed to fight for myself because no one else will fight for me.
Incredible. And, one of the things that I love about that is, so one, you bet on yourself. I think that if you've ever got a chance to be able to bet on something or someone or whatever, you is your greatest bet because
Absolutely.
It's you. And then you're also like, your back was up against the wall. Like there was no option to fail. I mean, you had done your homework, you had made these decisions, you had committed, and the rest is sort of history. And so let's kind of fast forward, not necessarily until today, but let's talk maybe about a high point of, the first couple of years that you'd like to share. And this podcast isn't all about like sunshine and rainbows either. And so people also need to hear like maybe a low point or something that was just like, I don't know if I can get up and do this one more day, or I'm overdrawn, or this creditor is calling me, or whatever else. So share a high point and a low point in the first few years.
So I went into it saying, okay, if I don't have employees, I need to find folks. Everyone's got a hard time finding employees now. So if you're starting with, you don't have one, or you have 20 and you're trying to find that next person. When I was doing my interviews at the Panera Breads and whatever restaurant I could get myself into, I went in and I found an employee in 2000 and 16. And what I was looking for was dependability. I did not care about anything else. I needed someone that I could go away for a night and the business wouldn't burn to the ground. That's all I hired for. I hired that gentleman, Ed. He's no longer with the company, but he served us for 5 years and was great. And we wouldn't be able to be where we are today without those first 5 years. And June, so that was April. June, I get a phone call from my mother. Hey, dad's in the hospital. He ended up being in the hospital for 20 something days straight. 30 minutes later, I got a call from Ed. His father just dropped dead. So I just went from 100% capacity to 0 in 30 minutes. And now I've got to figure out how we're going to finish the rest of the week. Because we did everything we could for Ed to support him. We knew my father was going to be all right, but we did everything we could, gave him as much time off. I figured everything else out. He became extraordinarily loyal. And it allowed me to make changes within the business that needed. It allowed me to test things, go away, be with my family. So that was a low point of, okay, it's not, it's 2 employees done for a week. What are we going to do? But the high point of that story is that I ended up gaining an employee who was loyal as could be to me because I helped him through a hard situation.
Well, and I've kind of noticed that too, that, when you are able to be there for employees and their low points or support them, and not only that, but then like show them a path of how they can achieve their goals and get what it is they want or think it is that they want, they will run through walls for you. And, out of a lot of those low points, David, which I've had plenty, along the way, and I think every entrepreneur has, you learn a lot of things about yourself. Sometimes you lose a key employee, as you did with Ed, and you think, oh my gosh, I have to sell the company. There's no way we can. And then guess what? The sun rises, you figure it out, you go to work, you roll your sleeves up, you take care of clients, and you learn a lot of things that you didn't know by getting back into the details of the business to be able to improve it and make it even better.
I think as we kind of scale up in our businesses, obviously you don't get the CEO role. You are the CEO and you're like, great, what do I do now for all of this at every level of the business? And as I went up and continually, now that we had 35-ish employees this year, I was like, I probably didn't know 75% of our technicians. And as I pulled out, I now at this point in the year get pushed back in to see what the needs are of the employees of the business, of what their needs are. How can I support them as they go through this winter and how we can grow all together? Because as you grow, you start getting pulled away, you start getting more into analytics and big picture stuff. You don't always get to see the day-to-day of your employees anymore, which is you got to make time for them. If you don't make time to them, they're not going to become that loyal person, which is tough.
Yeah. So let's talk about employees. I've had a lot of conversations the last couple of weeks about this, but I think the rest of how we'll spend our time is, look, things have definitely changed in the last 4, 5, 6 years. They've definitely changed the last couple of years, not just with employees, but also with our clients and how they find us and how we market to them. So maybe instead of employees, let's start there with our clients and marketing. And then we'll get into employees. What things have you seen change in the last 5 years? What are you doing differently now that's working that either wasn't working then or wasn't even an option then? Let's talk about that for a moment.
All right. So concerning the customer acquisition process, in the tick and mosquito world, it's fast. We have 12-ish weeks in New England to pick up clients. So we got to get our touches on them really quickly. So we've developed, pretty much a drip campaign. We're trying to get touches on that customer 7 to 10 within 3 weeks. Here, like Google is great. It's a good thing, but at the same point, like you're not going to Google and just like looking at it, it's giving you things to do. You have to be searching for it. So Google essentially is around noise. You then need interruption marketing, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, anything to engage in video will make people stop faster than just an infographic. personal pictures of your family, personal pictures of your kids, stuff that doesn't have to be the front of their faces. It can be their back of their faces, but doing what you're providing. So we provide people more time outside. So my kids playing in my backyard is exactly what we provide. It doesn't say we do tick and mosquito control.
Sure.
It goes into, these are yard signs behind us, just networking within the neighborhood. You got network, you got your yard signs, you get door hangers, you get your vehicles in neighborhoods. All of a sudden, and then you layer in direct mail on top of it. Now you're getting a lot of touches right in a row in a compact time that where else are they going to turn? They're not going to go to your competition because they see your friends or their friends are doing it. Your trucks are already in the neighborhood. The yard signs are there. The Facebook is there. Then when they go to Google for tick and mosquito control, who's going to pop up? We're already there. We're already putting the money dollars back into it. The big change throughout this. So we've done that for about 3 years now. COVID hit. Everyone was at home. So everyone thought the world was going to end, which it did for some, and it was bad for some. For pest control, I found it was really great. Everyone was home. Everyone was putting in swing sets, backyard patios, pools. Everyone was on their phone. Text messaging was a game changer. We're able to get in at the early level of that, offer new services, offer additional services, contact people that we hadn't contacted in a while. And that was quick gratification for them. Yes, you can help me. Boom. I don't have to see you. I don't have to hear you. Have fun. So adding in that text message layer was a big game changer for us.
So talk to us, David, from kind of start to finish. Let's say that someone is starting, and just as it relates to marketing, let's say that someone is either entering a new market with you or going to enter market on their own, and they're providing either mosquito services or some sort of home service. Where would you suggest that they start with their marketing? I mean, most of it usually starts kind of as you did with your first vehicle, and you wrap that sucker up or you paint it or whatever. What do those layers of marketing look like?
It's unbelievable. I talked to all of my franchisees about this. First, you got a spray vehicle, you got one real work vehicle, and you have your personal truck. Letter it, match them. People will think you're a lot bigger than you are. When we moved into our new area, I said I needed to get into a gym and be part of that gym community. So I found my clientele. I joined that gym, and I was with that gym for about 5 years, and it made us connect so many different dots. I then went to dinner in the areas I wanted to serve. I went grocery shopping. I did all my events in those areas. The next key that a lot of people, when money's really good, people forget about network. Why are we not joining the networking groups? I think some of them get a bad rap because they're potentially expensive or they're really strict. But knowing your local businesses and what they're offering to the community, they will either use your service, which is great, but you're really looking for them to share your service with all of their friends. And that was key. So 2 vehicles, wrapped, lettered, the same exact thing, joined a gym, became part of the community, and then local networking. People don't know you. They're not going to say anything about you, right? They're never going to offer your services to anyone. So those are the big things right away that we really chomped in on. And I still do them. 8 years later, I'm still part of that networking group. And now I go in and I talk about other fun things that I'm working on. I don't necessarily talk to them about taking mosquito control every week.
Because they already know it. They know what you're doing. They know what you're up to. They've seen the trucks. They've seen the ads. They've seen everything else. They know it.
Right.
So let's transition then, David, a little bit. So that is some of the marketing 101 and some of the ways that you have certainly found tremendous amounts of success over the last few years, several years. How have things changed, in your opinion, with the labor market and employees? You know, you talked about one of your first employees, Ed, and how fantastic that was to be able to have him do what he did for those 5 years, and you couldn't be where you are without him. I feel the same way about a lot of my employees. What's changed? What are you doing now? How are you finding, walk us through some of that.
So things that have changed, it's not always dollar. It could be benefits, could be work-life balance came a big thing out of COVID. Everyone wants that balance of when they're coming home, when they're going, when they're going to work, when they're coming home. What we found is you have to respect them, and you have to allow them to essentially you can put parameters on their schedule, but if they need a day off, it's pretty much like, okay, let's just figure out how we're going to get the work covered. Finding them. We're doing the social media. We're doing, feather flags in front of our office. We're doing referrals within our, anyone that we know, if they refer someone, our employees refer someone. And then Indeed or any marketing platform. Here's the thing is, if you look at your job description, a lot of them say pest control, 40 hours a week, fast growing company, need help, get licensed, we'll pay for your license. But why would anyone apply for that? So what if you flip it on top and you tell them everything they're going to get?
And do you mind, David, can I interject and kind of cut you off? People, please, if you haven't looked at your ad in recently, in the last 3 months or so, all you need to do to stand out just a little bit, it costs you nothing, just 30 minutes or 45 minutes of your time. And if you want to go through the mining process that a lot of candidates are going through, go search your job and look what it says on Monster or Indeed or Zipper or whoever, and read the description. I mean, it is like reading the back of a college textbook from 40 years ago. If you have trouble going to sleep at night, just start reading one of those and you will immediately fall to say, and you may stay asleep for 10 hours. But do something, just do something, put 30 minutes into your copy and making that just a little bit more interesting. Try to elicit some sort of emotional response from the people that you're looking to be able to recruit. Try to get them to laugh out loud. Try to have them say, "Hey, honey, check this out. This is kind of funny." You know what I mean? Or whatever. It is really, really, really bad. I challenge anyone to spend an hour looking for a job on those platforms, and you will feel really, really bad for the workforce out there and what they've got to go through and what they've got to kind of put up with. So don't do that. And we're going to hear some more from David about that.
Yeah, you will go to bed. People say that is the unemployment line. It's not necessarily. I mean, we've picked up people that are working somewhere else. They just want a better opportunity. We flipped it upside down. One of our taglines, and anyone can use this. It's not my original. I borrowed it from someone else. High pressured squirt gun operator. It has been flagged. I know folks that have used it that have been flagged because it says gun in it, but high pressure, it's like, what the heck is that? You get into it. Do you want a free suntan? Do you want to be able to have route optimization? Do you want to have technology? Do you want to manage your own day? Do you want to be able to let people enjoy more time outside? It's Thursday. We're recording this on a Thursday, but I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Fridays are Hawaiian shirt Fridays. Wednesdays, we provide free dinner for all of our employees. It is so simple that you just go get it catered. You get plastic dishes, you put everything together. It's there for them at the end of the day. We do have the other benefits, the 401k and dental, and there's the stock ones that medium company, small businesses can get. But I bought a dunk tank. I was like, this is gonna be the weirdest thing. We're gonna buy a dunk tank and celebrate wins. We're gonna employ active duty military and work around their schedule that they have to serve. Because then we're serving our country while they're serving, because we're allowing them to still make an income and not have to just be in the military or be a civilian. My favorite one that I did take this from my father's business was we do free Thanksgiving turkeys or November turkeys, however you want to look at it. Fresh, never frozen. That's a big deal when you're looking at someone that's a technician that's potentially trying to make ends meet. And they fell in luck and they're trying to put a Thanksgiving turkey or a Thanksgiving meal together. They're expensive. And it's always one of the best things that we get feedback on a yearly basis.
So I hope that everyone paid really careful and really close attention. And if you didn't, hit, rewind a couple of times to the last 2 minutes. But those were some really, first of all, in the ad, you're eliciting a response. Free high pressure squirt gun operator. But that is funny. That has people. So I've never heard that before. And so me hearing it for the first time, I'm like, and I know a little bit about what you do, but I'm what is that? I need to find out more. That's a really good headline of an article that you would click into to want to know more, right?
Right.
That stands out against all the rest of the bland, boring ads that you see out there. And I love it on people. I mean, did you hear, like, give people a turkey? How much turkeys are 30 or 40% more now than they were a year ago. But still, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
turkey dinner, that is incredible. I mean, catering dinner, there's things that you can do to take some of your profits to be able to reinvest them back into your employees. And yeah, you have to have the standard stuff there. You need to have competitive wages, right? You can't pay the rent or mortgage with fist bumps and hugs and high fives and stuff. And so all of those things, like David is explaining, they've got to be there. But man, there's a couple of things that you can do that are very low cost and very high value yielding for your employees that will make them say, man, I'm glad that I'm here. I'm glad that David's taking care of me. I'm glad that he's put the thought in to doing this, because nowhere else that I've worked has ever done anything like this. Very cool.
I appreciate that. The one thing I didn't mention, and a lot of folks do it, or people are afraid of doing it, but we do a performance pay system. So everyone gets a base pay plus a percent of whatever they complete for the day. My guys don't have to sell. They just have to service, but they get a percent commission, which allows them to earn, 21 to 24. But if they want to make $28 an hour, they can work a little harder. If they want extra hours, they can work on Saturdays. I allow them to, if they want the work, I'd rather have fewer employees making a lot more money than have a slew of people making, $15,000 a year. That doesn't make anyone feel good. It's a lot of paperwork on our end. And it's a lot of paperwork on their end when they go to tax season. And it's like, it's just not fun. They feel like they're just being a ping pong in everyone else's life.
So there's some ideas, David, to be able to find people, recruit people. The other thing that I want to say too is, look, the people that you're looking for, everybody, they are employed. The people that you're looking for, they don't not have a job right now. They are working somewhere else. They are an A player somewhere else, or a B player, and with some of your training can become an A player. And so you need to be able to find them where they are and recruit them, and have an offer and a call to action that has them say, hey, I like what I'm doing now, but this seems to be hustling and bustling, maybe aligns a little bit more with my work-life balance. Those sorts of things. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, let me touch upon the A and the B player and the rock star. So A's can go up, B's can go up, A's can go up. When you find like a rock star employee, like, this is the guy's perfect. It's all like, oh yeah. You ever see a rock concert and the performer comes out, rocks for the 2.5 hours, and then they leave, and it's like, what the heck just happened? I'd rather hire A players and get them or B players or A players and get them up a little bit than hire that perfect person that gives me every single thing, because when they're gone, there's going to be a mess to clean up. I've hired them before, and we're like, this is great. We're never going to have to watch them. There's not going to be this. They're hitting their KPIs. And then all of a sudden they leave, and we're like, oh my God, they didn't do X, Y, or Z. What the heck happened? The mess we have to clean up. So sometimes it's not, they are most likely employed, but it doesn't always have to be the top guy at the next place down the street. Could be the line cook that's just trying to get out of the kitchen, trying to, get into a better work environment, who's doing a great job, but just needs that change. So.
Very good. So that's a little bit of the recruitment. What are you finding, David, that employees are wanting or demanding now, in the last couple of years that maybe they weren't a few years ago? And what are some things that you're doing or having success with, or things that you've heard as you've had conversations, dinner, surveyed your employees that they're wanting now that kind of helps with the retention aspect of employment?
Yeah, what we're finding is 40 hours is really the max at this point. Overtime is very minimal across the board. They're just not interested. They want the work-life balance. That may change if a recession hits in 2023. But they're looking for work-life balance. They are looking for a much higher wage. So we have had to make adjustments, but everyone's expecting rates to go up. So our employees deserve that. And they're looking for opportunity for growth, their own personal growth. It's a gig economy. There's a lot of people bouncing from one thing to another. I don't expect guys to be with me for forever. If I can get a solid year, provide them with something great. If they can stay for 4 years, even better. But they're looking for, in our business, they're looking for rapid change. They're looking for the growth opportunities to become better, so then they can apply what they've learned to the next level or train down and potentially go to a different business and help them. I do not hold anyone back. If they want to leave or it's time for them to move on, it's their time. I'm not going to say, no, stay here because of X, Y, or Z. Just not my mentality.
Sure. That's fantastic. We have made a lot of those discoveries and adjustments. We've had thousands of conversations with employees and done too many surveys. It's almost dizzying. I like what you said. Our employees do deserve it. The workforce does deserve it. They do deserve to make higher wages. They do deserve to have more of a work-life balance. And so I think that there's a lot of people that are kind of looking at this as, oh my gosh, there's so much work, I can't hire. And I don't know that that's the best outlook to be able to have. I think it needs to be a little bit more the glass is half full, and that, hey, this has happened. We care about our employees. What is it that we can do now to be able to help them even more? And despite kind of the situation that we're in. So how can we be more flexible? How can we put more money in their pocket? How can we have them have a sense and an actual reality of improving and learning skills? And for however much time they're with me at Moxie or you at ohDEER, how can we invest in them to have them prepared for whatever it is next for them? Maybe they're with us for 100 years. Maybe they're with us for a quarter, and then they go and do something else. Like, have we done our job as owners and entrepreneurs to be able to equip them and put them into a program in place that they can be challenged and learn skills and become more valuable for obviously the companies, but for themselves, whatever it is they're doing now or in the future. David, thank you so much. As we round this out, what would you tell? Let's have you speak to those people that are where you were 8 years ago. What would you tell those people that are on the fence? They're scared. They're engaged to be married in 6 months. You know what I mean? They don't have $200,000 in their bank account or a real long runway. What would you tell those people as we round this out?
It's an exciting point, right? You've got a great thing coming. You may have a disaster happening at work. How long can you stay there? But start looking, start joining groups, start seeing what other folks are doing. If you get onto Facebook, there's a lot of negative forums. Look at the business groups that can help you find what that next thing is going to be. There are consultants out there that you can work with. There are local businesses that you've seen scale up. Just go and talk to them. How did you get into it? What made you change? The CEOs and the presidents of these companies are typically available. They're not on a yacht. They're at home with their kids in their backyard, or they're at a sporting event with their kids. You can get in touch with the guy that installs fences, the painter. If you're looking at doing something, can you literally just go work for them for free to see if you even like it for X amount of time, for nights, for weekends? Just see if you like it. You're giving them value. You're getting value as well. If you can serve, the more people you serve, the more you will get served. And I found that out in 2019. I was at a point in my business that we were scaling, but I felt there was more to the business. And I ended up going to an event and sat next to guys that are like, oh yeah, I took my business from X to X in a year. I'm like, how did you add $750,000? And they're like, well, I just planned. I did X, Y, and Z and it happened. I'm like, holy smokes. I did that the next year. The following year, we added $1 million. This year, we've added over $1 million. Like, it can happen. It's if you surround yourself with your your current coworkers, that's who you're going to be the average of. Go try to talk to the someone else higher up in the business. Go talk to the person that you want to become. They're going to help you with that path, and they'll probably do some mentoring at no charge. So
incredible advice. Thank you so much. I mean, I think it is true what they say, that you're the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, whether that's spiritually or physically or financially or educationally or whatever. So it's in everyone's best interest to be able to reach up, and you'll find that a lot of those people are interested in mentoring and interested in sharing their time with you. Finally, David, how do people get a hold of you? What's the best way for them to continue this conversation with you offline? Do they find you on LinkedIn, or how do they find you?
Absolutely. So I am on LinkedIn, David Mulcahy, Mulcahy. I'm also on Facebook. I think I'm private, though. I haven't set my preferences on Facebook since I was in college, so it's been a while. But ohDEERfranchising.com is our website for the franchising stuff. If you guys want to see what it actually looks like, there's a form there. It's a simple form. Fill it out. You'll end up probably having a Zoom with me. If you want to see what our service is actually like, you can jump onto ohDEER.com, and that's all of our service websites. And then if you are a current business and you're like, where do I go? You're in pest control, you're in home service of some sort. We haven't talked about this, but I am a certified Conquer coach. Conquer's a community of business owners that are looking to automate and grow their businesses. And that was the community that I joined in 2019. Scaled my business to over 2 million through 2021. Now certified. I now coach other entrepreneurs on, how do they set their goals? What are their, destroy their self-limiting beliefs? Because everyone's goal is completely different. Someone could want a $500,000 business and be very happy. Someone could want a $5 million business. Doesn't matter. It matters that we just take action on what we need to do to be able to get to our goal next. So my email is david@oh-deer.com. Deer is in the animal.
Perfect. David, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. And thank you everybody for listening and tuning in. We'll drop these twice a week until we do the book launch at the first part of November, and then back down to once a week. Until then, create a great day.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Multiply You podcast. You'll see us again soon when you subscribe for future episodes.